From the campus of Arizona State University in Tempe, Arizona, ESPN presents the best in intercollegiate athletics. Today, it's the 1995 Pacific 10 Conference Women's Gymnastics Championships. Hi, everyone. I'm John Neighbor. Along with me, Mara Driscoll. And of the 10 teams in the conference, only 7 field a women's gymnastics program. Yet all 7 are here, Mara, competing for this title.
They certainly are. And the Pac-10 is one of the strongest gymnastic conferences in the country. In fact, this year, the conference boasts 4 of the top 11 teams in the nation. It's very likely that these 4 Pac-10 teams will go on to nationals to represent the Pac-10. They are number 7, UCLA, number 8, Arizona State, number 9, Oregon State, and number 11 in the nation, the Wildcats out of Arizona.
Well, Mara, Oregon State is the defending champion here at this conference meet, but UCLA just got second place last year and had the 3 top individual performers. They brought some big guns to perform here today as well.
They definitely did. Freshman Stella Ume and sophomore Leah Homa. Both were Canadian national team members together in Canada and now teammates together at UCLA. Sophomore Leah Homa was last year's Pac-10 all-around champion as a freshman. And when you talk about consistency and dependability, Leah Homa's name definitely comes to mind. She is an exceptional athlete, but an even better competitor. Stella Ume has been turning heads around the Pac-10 and the country all season long. She's a 1992 Olympian for Canada, just an exceptional athlete. Now, you can't talk about UCLA gymnastics without mentioning the senior superstar, Karima Merrow. In 1993, she won the Pac-10 all-around title and the West Regional all-around title. Last year, she finished second in the all-around to her freshman teammate. But this year, in her senior campaign, she means business, so look out for her.
A lot of excellent individuals there, but let's not overlook the rest of the schools. They've brought some big players, too.
From Arizona State, freshman Megan Wright and senior Tina Brinkman. Both are excellent athletes. Freshman Megan Wright has been their top all-arounder all season long. Look for her to factor into the all-around race. And Tina Brinkman, well, she's been a star in this conference for 3 years. Tonight, she will try to go for her 4th Pac-10 floor exercise title. From Oregon State, freshman Amy Slack has been a pleasant surprise in the all-around for that team, so look for her to factor in also.
And we should remind our viewers that the top 5 scores of each 6 athletes from each school on each apparatus will be totaled together to get the team score. Now, with that in mind, who do you like here?
Well, remember, this is a championship meet. It's much more pressure-filled than a dual competition, and it will come down to consistency for the top teams. But UCLA has been putting up some huge numbers lately. I think if they're on, they'll be very tough to beat. Oregon State and ASU, don't forget about them. They'll give the Bruins a fight for the title. Exciting
competition coming up because of the size of the field. There will be 7 rotations. Rotation number 1 coming up right after this. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Pac-10 Conference Championships in Women's Gymnastics. We're here at the Sun Devil campus in Tempe, Arizona. John Neighbor along with Mar Driscoll. And the first rotation of 7 rotations is now underway as our focus of attention goes over to the beam, the balance beam competition. For Arizona State, the host club is now getting ready for their 5th athlete, Megan Wright.
Megan Wright is just a freshman, and she's not even in ASU's media guide because she was still in high school. She graduated in December and started competing right away in January for the Sun Devil squad.
There's a lot of pressure to perform well at a conference meet, but perhaps not as much as at the nationals or regionals. That notwithstanding, being the host club, you can pretty well assume that the Sun Devils aren't holding anything back here.
Certainly not, especially on the balance beam. If there's any time you want to be at home, it's on this event. This is what I like to call the great equalizer in college gymnastics. It is so crucial to stay on the beam. It can make or break a team. Megan's getting ready for her tumbling pass, back handspring, layout, step out, step out. A layout is a D move. 2 Ds in a row renders some decent combination bonus, and that's exactly what you want to do on this event.
As is usually the case in team competition, the better athletes go later in the rotation.
Megan is 5th up here, so that's a vote of confidence for her. There is one more competitor for the Sun Devils. Megan has been ASU's top all-arounder as a rookie, and that says a lot considering the talent on this team. She looks a little wobbly to me, actually. Her first tumbling pass was pretty good, but her leap passes seem to be lacking that full execution and amplitude. And I think in a conference championship like this, that is really going to separate the top gymnasts. And here's her dismount, a full twist, a nice landing, but really not a very difficult dismount. We're going to see some more difficult routines, I think, later on tonight.
Sun Devils swarming her with hugs is a means of showing team unity here, and they certainly have a great deal of that. Now, earlier in the competition, Carrie Monahan from Stanford competed in the vault, her last position for the rotation.
And here's her first vault. A handspring front in the pike position. Very nicely done. A little step on the landing, but not bad at all. On this event, again, we're looking for lots of air time and a good solid landing. She didn't have the greatest landing, but a decent vault. That's a 10-0 valued vault.
And Monahan, being a freshman, also has the highest overall degree of difficulty on the Cardinals squad.
She also scored Stanford's highest score this season on vault, breaking the school record. Her score was a 9.9.
Megan Wright awaiting the official marks as her teammate Dana Lister is getting ready to mount the beam.
Dana Lister is ranked number 2 in the country on the balance beam. She is outstanding on this event. Tons of difficulty, very well composed, very clean, everything done very well.
As is usual in team competition, it's a 4-ring circus out here. Activity going on all 4 apparatus. The score now in on the balance beam. Megan earns a 9.75.
That's a very good score for that routine, I think.
So now her teammate trying to raise the envelope a little bit more, if you will. Dana Lister.
Dana has scored a perfect 10 this season. On this event, it was her 5th in her career, which is just amazing. She's a co-captain of this year's squad, a real team leader.
Dana hails from Tulsa, Oklahoma, majoring in exercise science. This is her final year here.
John, Dana averages a 9.906 on the balance beam, and that's why she's ranked 2nd in the nation. Just incredible. She finished 3rd at the 94 Pac-10 championships, and she is an all Pac-10 selection on the balance beam. You see head coach John Speeney and Tracy Moser, the assistant coach. John Speeney's been with the Arizona State program for 15 years. He's a great recruiter, and he used to coach at an Arizona club, Twisters. Serves as a great recruiting pool for him. That's, in fact, where they got Megan Wright this year.
If you can't recruit them, well, you just make them in the age group level and bring them on board.
We know it's close, so we time it every time. It's not that far.
It looks like they put in an inquiry. What happens is if you are disagreeing with a score, you can inquire what the routine started at, but that's the only reason why you can inquire. You can't necessarily dispute a score.
Megan Wright's 9.75, the highest mark ASU has earned on that apparatus so far.
Dana Lister, this year, this is a new mount for her. Last year, she did a layout on, which was more of a spectacular, difficult mount, but a little too risky. She has so much difficulty as it is. That's called an illusion. She's a little off balance there, but that is so difficult to do. It's an E move, and in gymnastics, an E move is the most difficult move you can do. Here's her tumbling. Watch this. Back handspring, layout, step out, right on. No budging whatsoever. You can sense Dana's confidence on this event, a little different than her teammate, Megan Wright. She's very comfortable on the balance beam. And this event requires so much mental concentration, especially, as you said, it's a 3-ring circus here. There are 4 events going on at once. There's music blaring, there's screams, and you really have to maintain your focus. Comes a leap combination, a switch leg leap into an immediate side aerial. That's called a gym acro series, combining gymnastics elements and acrobatic elements. And that's what they have to do on the balance beam. And there's her dismount, a cartwheel into a gainer layup full off the side. Very solid performance. And the team and assistant coach Tracy Moser are very happy about that. Speaking of rotation order, John, you know, it's really tough to start on the balance beam. In gymnastics, there's a preferred rotation. It starts with vault, followed by bars, beam, and floor. And that's intentional. To start on balance beam is really tough to do. Now here we take a look at Dana Lister, getting ready for her gym acro series, a switch leg leap into an immediate side aerial, gives nothing away. She stands it up just beautifully. And she'll work her way into her dismount. She does a cartwheel. You'll see she drags her leg and misses the beam and then does a gainer, layup full, off the side. Very nicely done.
So the host Sun Devils complete the first rotation, their first of 4 apparatus. 3 teams have been sitting on the sidelines. So we take a look at the score. Again, a high mark, 9.80. Dana Lister on the balance beam. We'll be back with rotation number 2. Lots more to come here in Arizona. Welcome back to more Pac-10 gymnastics competition. We're now in the second rotation, and Stanford is over on the uneven bars. Megan Lannon just now with the mount, having some difficulty there.
It looks like she's getting ready to do a release move and decided not to go for it, but there it goes. That's called a ginger, and she fell off there. Major deductions, a 5/10 deduction for the fall, and then, of course, for the problems she had before. Megan Lannon is a junior. She was actually named most improved gymnast for the past 2 years in a row. It's unfortunate she's having some troubles on this event. She'll finish up with a dismount here. First an overshoot, or a straddle back to handstand. So much of this event is timing, and if it doesn't feel like your timing is on, it's tough to go for those big release moves. And her dismount, a toe on front. A really disappointing performance for Megan Lannon. Last year, Stanford actually finished 4th at the Pac-10 championships, which was their best Pac-10 finish ever. They're constantly improving and really starting to work their way up the ranks in the conference and in the country as well.
What happened on that dismount move, or the release move?
This is her release move. It's called a ginger, a backflip with a half twist, kind of close to the bar, and as soon as she caught her hand, too much of her weight was coming down, and she kind of slipped off the bar. She caught it very close with munched arms.
Megan Lannon, the 3rd cardinal in the rotation, hoping to raise the floor of the team's scores, if you will. Janae Elsie's coming up next, but
a great example of why there are 6 gymnasts that compete, but only 5 scores count, because you can drop the lowest score. You want to count, you know, you want to throw out a 9-7, but in this case, you can throw out an 8-2 or whatever she may get.
But that doubles the pressure on the rest of the team.
Exactly.
Something just recently occurred over in the vaulting area. Amy Slack, the freshman we mentioned earlier from OSU.
And watch this. She does a Sukahara with a full twist in the tuck position. Very difficult to do. Very difficult. Only worth a 9.9 because it's not laid out. Not many people do that vault. It was very nicely done. A great landing. She seems pretty happy about it.
9.75, the best mark for Amy Slack on the vault, and she was put in the number 2 position.
That's a very good score for that vault. As I said, it's only valued at a 9.9.
Now we go back to the vaulting area.
A handspring front in the pike position.
Amanda Turco.
A great job, and this is very interesting because when she was warming up on the floor exercise, Amanda was tumbling, and she got a splinter that was in the floor mat in her foot. A handspring front. Watch the pre-flight. This is what the judges are looking for. A little leg separation. The pike, a little buckling on the legs, on the landing, but a nice job.
In the vault, each athlete jumps twice.
Her second vault, the gymnasts get to keep the highest score. Handspring front in the pike position, the step on the landing. The first vault was a little bit better, I think.
So Amanda runs back to receive the congratulations from her team.
What a comeback after getting a splinter in your heel on the floor exercise mat. Unbelievable. A mark of a true competitor. Oregon State, they are the defending Pac-10 champions, so they're looking to repeat again this year. Now, what the judges are looking for is the approach on the horse, an instantaneous push off of the horse, a tight pike position. She's a little open on her pike, and you see she had to take that step on the landing. It's very difficult to do that vault because when you're rotating forward, it's a completely blind move, and I think the judges saw that as well with a 9.65 score.
Well, the higher of the two vaults counts towards the team total. And now we're back over at the bars area. Stanford now.
This is Carrie Monahan. Here comes a full pirouette on the high bar into an immediate Tkachev. A very nice job. As I said, Stanford is increasing their difficulty. And she's getting ready for her dismount. A full, excuse me, this is Katie Jennings, a full twisting double back. An excellent job, a nice routine. She seems very happy.
Katie, a sophomore out of Virginia, was the top high school recruit last year, an elite level gymnast herself.
This dismount is very difficult. 2 flips backwards and a full twist in between. She calls it a full within. You can see she does the full twist between the 2 somersaults. 2 flips and 1 twist and a perfect landing. She is their top bars worker. Last year, Katie was one of the top incoming freshmen in the country. And bars is, in fact, her best event.
An elite-level gymnast. She likes watching Melrose play. She was the valedictorian of her graduating class in high school. And a good addition for the Lady Cardinal.
Stanford's goal this year is really to get back to nationals, make it to nationals. The seniors on this squad went to nationals when they were freshmen for the first time, so the seniors definitely want back at that national championships.
Taste it once, you want to go back.
Absolutely. Remember, this is a championship meet. It really marks the beginning of the postseason. It's crunch time in gymnastics.
Now our attention turns over to the balance beam once again. UCLA on the beam. Leah Homa, we talked about her in the opening. She's the 5th athlete for the Bruins in their rotation.
Leah is outstanding on this event. She has 2 moves that are named after her in the International Code of Points. The first one is called the Homa Flares, which is her mount, the very first thing she will do here. So pay attention. And then she'll do a move called the Homa Flip. She introduced those moves to the world in 1989 at the World Championships. She was representing Canada at the time.
Her best score so far this season on that apparatus, a 9.975, almost perfect.
Here it comes, the Homa Flares. That is so difficult to do. I cannot tell you the strength that's required to perform that skill.
It's a men's event. I mean, Kurt Thomas had a Thomas flare named after him doing the same thing.
Exactly.
But not on a beam 4 inches wide.
Now just watch the execution and the confidence that she has on this event. She really is in a class all herself. She'll set up for her tumbling pass here. Her acrobatic series. Back handspring, layout, step out, back handspring. A little off, but she pulled that out. It's so difficult to do when you're your center of gravity is off. It's really tough to pull it back onto the balance beam because remember, it's 4 inches wide. Leah is ranked number 9 in the nation, and there's the Homa Flip, named after her.
So she lands on her knees and then spins around? Is that what that was?
She flips sort of before she gets to lands low on the beam, and then she spins around again.
First time a move is done in international competition, it bears the name from then on of the person who introduced it.
That's right. It needs to be in a World Championship event or an Olympic Games. And here comes her dismount. Excuse me, a gainer layout step out on the beam. And her dismount, there it goes. Same approach, a full twisting gainer layout off the side. She was 2nd last year at Pac-10. She had a little break this year, and she's such an intense competitor that she's bothered by that. I know that she is. She recently injured her ankle, so she probably will not be competing on the floor exercise, taking her out of the all-around race, unfortunately. There's the Homa flares. She is completely supporting her entire body with her arms while her legs flare around. Just amazing. And here's a gainer layout step out to a perfect landing right into a gainer full off the side of the beam. Again, a perfect landing. In my opinion, Leah Homa is the best athlete out here tonight just because of her intensity, her will to win, and her unmatched ability as an exceptional competitor.
And the official mark on the balance beam, 9.825. Good marks for the Bruins.
A great score. Last year she finished second, and her score was in the 9.8 range, so that could be good enough to be up there.
Got the Bruin paw prints on the back of the shoulder blades there.
See head coach Valerie Kondo telling Leah it's okay because she's a little upset for that little break. This is Stella Ume. Watch this tumbling pass. 4 elements in a row to a perfect landing. Boom, boom, boom. Unbelievable. She is the only gymnast in this competition who will be doing a tumbling pass on the beam with 4 consecutive tricks. She is outstanding on this event. Just like her teammate, Leah Homa, she was a Canadian national team member. She was also a 92 Olympian. In the Olympic Games, she finished 16th all around. So we are talking about world-class competition here. Had a little problem there, but she kind of recovered and made it a dance move instead. On a relatively subdued event, Stella Ume is very entertaining, very dramatic, precise, and quick-moving. 2 beautiful straddle jumps. On the balance beam, UCLA is ranked number 6 in the nation. Here's her dismount, a round-up double tuck to a very nice landing, a little step, but not a big deduction at all. A beautiful routine.
So the 2 Canadians doing their very best to bring the Bruins up in the second rotation.
Just watch this tumbling pass. She does a back handspring into an immediate layout, feet together, into an immediate back handspring, and another layout step out, and not a movement to speak of.
And now we go over to the floor exercise area. Arizona University of is getting ready now with their 5th entry, their 5th athlete in the rotation, Tenley Pogomar.
Tenley is a redshirt freshman, and she was sidelined the entire '94 season due to reconstructive knee surgery. But this year, she's back in the all-around and making her presence felt.
Got credit with a redshirt year last year, so still officially a freshman. Hometown Scottsdale, Arizona, very nearby here.
It's very unusual that Tenley does not wear a knee brace after undergoing total reconstructive knee surgery. It's a common injury in women's gymnastics and women's sports in general. And tumbling and pounding and that sort of thing can't be the best thing for a reconstructed knee, but here she goes, ready to tumble away. And her first tumbling pass, a double pike, nice and high, nice landing.
Big smile.
Big smile. This is where you smile and you let it all hang out. Bringing the audience in, having a fun time in the floor exercise. Tenley won the all-around a few weeks ago with a career-high 39.30 at an invitational in Arizona. She's been doing a great job for the Wildcats. Having fun, being dramatic, expressing her personality through her dance and gymnastics. Tenley has been actually undergoing and having to deal with some personal despair. Her head coach from her club experience prior to college was Stormy Eaton, who recently died in a tragic plane crash. She coached at a local Arizona club called the Desert Devils. produced many gymnasts who now compete in the Pac-10. At least 4 of his gymnasts are competing tonight.
And a theatrical bow to bring to a conclusion the floor exercise of Tenley Poggemeyer.
That was a nice routine, and she really has been going through some hard times lately, so really very impressive to rebound and come back and overcome her personal despair and other situations. Talk about a total turnaround for the University of Arizona. Last year was like a bad dream for Jim Galt and his team. First, their practice facility burned down. Then they were displaced to an inadequate practice facility. And then injuries besieged this team. They didn't make it to nationals after having gone to nationals 7 years in a row. They finished 6th out of 7 teams of the Pac-10. But they're back this year, which is very exciting. We're going to take another look at Tenley's tumbling here. Here's her first tumbling pass, a double pike, nice and high. She kind of drops out of the sky and lands it well. On that reconstructed knee, I might add.
And the marks, 9.625 for Tenley Poggemeyer. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody, for more of the Pac-10 Gymnastics Championships here at the University Athletics Center on ASU's campus in Tempe, Arizona. This is rotation number 3. 3 of the teams that have a bye now, but Arizona State, Washington, Oregon State, and UCLA are on the apparatus for rotation number 3. Should mention UCLA's Stella Ume on the beam in the last rotation earned a 9.875. Now we're getting ready. Rotation 3. Floor exercise, Katie Freeland from the host Sun Devils.
Katie is coming off a stellar sophomore season. She earned All-American honors on the vault. And as I said, her club coach before ASU is current ASU assistant coach Tracy Moser.
Is it normal for athletes to follow their coaches into the college ranks?
Actually, in this situation, here's her first tumbling pass, a double tuck, nice and high. That was beautiful. Katie started first, and then Tracy followed after, so it was the reverse in that case. Arizona State is actually not ranked in the top 20 on the floor exercise, which is very unusual. They're ranked very high, at least among the top 11 on the other 3 events, so this is their weakest event overall. And a double tuck, lots of difficulty in this routine. She is moving well. She is doing a great job on the floor exercise. And, you know, remember, they are at home, the University Activity Center. This is their regular meet site. And so it's their friends that are in the stands and nobody else's in most cases. With 7 different Pac-10 teams, this meet has 7 different rotations and a buys, as you said, and it's a great warm-up meet for the regionals, which is about 2 weeks away. Here's her last tumbling pass, a full twist. Not as difficult as her first 2, but it meets the requirements. You must end with a B. She has to be happy about the way things are going. She's moving cleanly, and really her tumbling is so high and pretty. A great routine. You can hear the crowd go wild because it's her crowd. Head coach John Spini congratulating her.
Coach
and that's
Spini,
Katie Freeland. Excuse me. Take a look at her first tumbling pass. She does a front pike through to an immediate double back, and watch how high she gets. She just drops out of the sky, lands. Unbelievable. Very nice. Her last tumbling pass is just a full twist. Not very difficult, but meets the requirements, as I said. In gymnastics, skills are valued at A to E. That's just a B move. So.
And a 9.85, the official score from the judges for Katie Freeland, the junior out of Axtell, Nebraska. She was born in Saigon. Now we go over to the vaulting area, and the Cal Berkeley Golden Bears are up.
This is Lisa Washington. She's a junior from Houston, Texas. Lisa is a very powerful vaulter. As a freshman at Pac-10, she scored a 9.9, which tied her for 3rd place. Cal's had a tough time at this Pac-10 meet. Last year they finished 7 out of 7, which was really tough. They had a great regular season, but suffered lots of injuries just before the postseason. And unfortunately, that's when you need to step it up. I think most coaches would agree that, you know, the tricky part in this sport is to stay healthy.
The signal from the judges. Here she comes.
She'll be doing a handspring front in the pike position. Very common. We're seeing a lot of these. Handspring front pike. Nice job, actually. She tight pike in the air. You see she landed on that crouch pad. That is legal without a deduction. College gymnastics falls under the umbrella of Junior Olympic rules, which states that that is legal. And then we're going to watch her run, watch her approach. This is what the judges are watching. She approaches the board, gets her hands in, quick right off of the horse. Nice tight pike in the air. Opens up. And a big step on the landing, actually.
Well, they're allowed 2 jumps. Let's take a look at the judges' mark on that first vault, a 9.80.
She was rewarded.
We'll be back with more competition in just a moment. Back again now here at the Pac-10 gymnastics competition for women. Heather Bennett, the sophomore out of Eugene, Oregon, is getting ready for her performance on the uneven bars.
She's outstanding in this event. She'll do a piked Jaeger, which is an E move. First, a full pirouette, giant full pirouette on the top of the bar. And here she goes, ready for her release move, a piked Jaeger. Beautiful. Very nicely done. It's a requirement for the gymnast to have at least 2 release moves. Oh, and she went over there, but she overcomes it very well into an immediate free hip. This is a girl who can swing bars. She went over on her handstand, and no one in the world would know it but me. And her dismount, a double layout, she lost a little momentum. It seems that she was tired because of having to do more elements, making up for her going over, and she under-rotated on her double layout.
Heather Bennett, a sophomore out of Eugene, Oregon, majoring in education. Former junior national team member.
Now watch her dismount here. Again, it's timing on this, and she's probably a little tired. She lets go early, can't quite get her body around. It's very difficult to do that. It's 2 flips in a completely stretched position, so you can't pull your legs over to help you rotate. And a look of disappointment.
And she was the final performer for OSU on that apparatus here in the 3rd rotation. The spot most often reserved for the highest scoring athlete from the team. Looks like a little chalk talk going on over there.
Well, they want really to repeat their Pac-10 championship title. They have one of the highest Pac-10 scores as a team this year, second to UCLA. And they really have a good shot at the title. So you don't want to count falls. Head coach Jim Turpin giving them a little pep talk right now. He's in his 10th season, and he's done an outstanding job with this team.
And the mark's a 9.25, the official score for Heather Bennett on the bars.
With a 5/10 deduction, you can tell that she's a top performer. You don't get a 9.25 with a fall unless you're good.
Now our attention goes over to the balance beam area where the University of Washington is occupying that apparatus. And there she is, Carly Rose, senior out of Monte Sereno, California.
She has been the team captain for 3 straight years, so needless to say, well-liked and a great leader. Carly's always there when they need her. Very clean on this event, on all of her events. Very pretty to watch, pretty dance, pretty line. And on this event, we'll see the gymnast combining elements, acrobatic elements with gymnastic elements.
Huskies put her 5th place in their rotation. Expecting good marks.
Here's her leap combination, a switch leg leap into a tour-jeté, which is very difficult. Again, one of those things that might not look that tricky, but on something 4 inches wide, very tough to keep your body over the balance beam. Here's her tumbling, back handspring, lay out, step out, and her hips went off to the side, and that was all.
5/10 deduction on the fall.
5/10 deduction on the fall. Very difficult, like I said, if something goes out of line, it's very difficult to pull your body back on because it's only 4 inches wide. Full turn requirement. Gainer layout, step out, very nice. So disappointing always to fall off of any apparatus, but on beam, it's really tough to get your head back in it, especially when so many other things are happening in the meet and her dismount. So a fall for Carly Rose, a little bit of a disappointment. Washington has really moved up the ranks in the past years. See Joy Seelig is an assistant coach, a former Pac-10 star who competed at Oregon State University, and another assistant coach, Tanya Chaplin, a teammate of mine. There she is right there.
Let's take a look at that fall one more time. What happened here? How did she get into that position?
Now watch her hips on the left side. She does 2 back handsprings. And then as she goes to her layout step, but when she steps out, see her left hip? She couldn't even get her back foot on the beam. She was just off because her hip went out of line.
We'll have Carly Rose's marks when we return. Stay with us. More gymnastics to come. We're back. Tina Brinkman from Arizona State getting ready to perform on the floor exercise, a 5'2" tall senior out of Sun Prairie, Wisconsin.
Tina Brinkman, the only Pac-10 gymnast ever to win 3 consecutive Pac-10 floor exercises tonight. She's going for, look at her strut on out there. She's going for her 4th straight title.
It's funny, she is mimicking the gesture that the entire Sun Devil squad made back at her there with the finger in the air.
This is her event. She's an All-American on this event. She's coming off of a concussion. She was in a car accident and didn't compete the beginning of the season. This is only her 5th meet of the season. But watch this tumbling pass, a full twisting double back. She's amazing. Most gymnasts are in postseason form. This is her 5th meet of the season, and watch her go. A full twisting double back. Oh, and a fall. 5/10 deduction for the fall, and also 1/10 for going out of bounds. That is really, really going to hit her hard. She loves to compete, and she loves to win. And a Rudy, which is an E move into a full twist. That is very difficult. She has tons of difficulty in her routine. And her artistic impression, John, comes in her facial expressions. Just watch.
At the judges there. By the way, the score for Carly Rose over on the beam turned out to be an 8.975.
And Tina's last tumbling pass. She wants to finish strong. A double full, a C move. And unfortunately, I don't think she'll get her 4th straight Pac-10 floor exercise title.
Had it not been for that landing after the first tumbling pass, do you think this would have been a winning routine?
I think it really could have been. It's tough to say because there are so many talented gymnasts in the Pac-10. Let's take a look and see what happened here. She hasn't thrown this all year. Again, it's only her 5th meet, so she was pulling it over and she over-rotated. That happens sometimes when you're trying to go so hard. It's tough to anticipate the ground. And she, again, that was the first time she has thrown that all season long.
Brinkman, a team co-captain, 3 titles, 3 conference titles in this event in a row, and she wanted to make it a straight 4.
Especially in front of her home crowd. That really would have been exciting. But Tina has done so much for this Arizona State squad that, you know, they really have to appreciate and be happy for the contribution that she's made. She's been a star in this conference, bar none.
And the disappointing score, 9.25. If you add back the 6/10 she lost on that first tumbling pass, that's a 9.85, which would have been a fabulous mark. Stay tuned as the athletes move one rotation around the floor. We'll be back with rotation number 4. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody, as we overlook the city of Phoenix, Arizona. We're here in the desert as athletes from all over the Pacific 10 Conference have convened to compete in the Women's Gymnastics Championships. The conference title at stake, and after 3 rotations, the 3 leading teams at the conclusion of 2 apparatus, Arizona State, Oregon State, and Stanford. It should be noted that Arizona and UCLA have only completed 1 of 2 apparatus at this point in the standings. Now we go over to the vaulting area where Arizona is getting ready now with Nicole Garrett, the 5th athlete in the rotation.
At the 94 Pac-10, Nicole actually had a back injury, which limited her to bars and floor. So this is her first time at Pac-10s competing vault, a handspring front in the tuck position. Lots of rotation on that. Kind of over-rotated, had to take some steps on the landing. On vaulting, each vault is valued at a particular score. Not every vault is worth a 10-0, and this vault is worth a 9.9, so even if she did it perfectly, that's the highest score she could receive. A nice approach, lots of distance. Again, it's the forward rotation. You can't see the ground until it's at your feet, which is why it's very difficult to land. Take another look here. The judges are looking for lots of air time, and she gets lots of it, but she needs to open up a little sooner to anticipate the ground. That's why she had to take a few steps.
Garrett, who studied in Spain last summer, is studying pre-med and exercise sports science is a possible career for her. Once again, we take the higher of the 2 scores these athletes receive in their 2 vaults.
She will be trying to stick this landing this time. She did it in the pike position, raising the value, a much better vault. Very nice. See, the tuck was actually too easy for her because she had so much rotation, so when she piked it on the second one, kind of slowed her down a little, and she had less trouble on her landing. Here's her vault again. She pikes it this time, which means bending at the hips instead of tucking. You can see she anticipated the ground, though, because she started to bend her knees a little. But that vault is worth a 10.0, so you have the potential to score higher.
And the score on that second vault, a 9.875, which was substantially better than her first vault. A good mark in the 5th spot of the rotation for Arizona. Now over at the floor exercise, we get to watch the UCLA Bruins completing their 2nd apparatus here in the 4th rotation.
And UCLA is really a cut above everybody else on the floor exercise. Head coach Valerie Kondos is hands down one of the best choreographers in the country. Choreography is just outstanding. The music selection, everything is really in a class by itself as far as UCLA is concerned. UCLA does not have 1 single Pac-10 loss this season. They have 5 of the highest team totals in the Pac-10. In my 10 years of being associated with the UCLA program, this is the best team that has the best shot, I think, to contend for a national title.
How much of that is due to the fact that the men's program is no longer emphasized at UCLA? Is there just a lot more attention being paid to the women, perhaps?
No, it's a slow progression. I mean, I think every year we always have a chance to contend for the title at UCLA, but this year they're just putting it all together and they're peaking at the right time. And watch her first tumbling pass.
Stella Ume.
A double layout. Rounded back handspring, 2 flips backward in a completely stretched position to a perfect landing. A beautiful job. Actually, Stella's sister, Anastasia, is a dancer, and she choreographed Stella's routine only, but Valerie Kondos choreographed the rest of the routine. Stella has a very dramatic routine, and watch her second tumbling pass. She does a whip back into an immediate back tuck. Watch this. Into an immediate back tuck to another perfect landing. Unbelievable. That is so difficult to do.
Stella's father, David, played soccer for Nigeria a few years back. Stella herself is contemplating a career in sports broadcasting.
UCLA has a great record of excelling at the Pac-10 championships. They've won 5 Pac-10 team titles, and they want their 6th tonight. And her last tumbling pass for Stella, a double full. Again, UCLA has so much difficulty in their tumbling passes, combined with the grace and elegance and drama of excellent choreography. What a routine for Stella Ume, really terrific.
Competed at 3 world championships in 1991, 1992, and again in 1993, finishing 16th and 15th in the all-around.
Again, we're talking about world-class gymnastics here. Let's take another look at her tumbling pass. This one is a whip back into an immediate back tuck, and the reason why that is so difficult is because normally when you're going to go up high, you want to do a skill that's low and fast and quick so that can propel you up. Has a lot to do with the laws of physics, but here she does a flipping movement into a double flipping movement. Incredible. That was a double full, her last tumbling pass. A C move. Her first tumbling pass was an E move, which is worth 2/10 of bonus. What a terrific performance.
And a terrific score from the judges, a 9.9. Very strong for Stella Ume, and there are still 2 more Bruins to come in the rotation.
That's what I told you about UCLA on the floor exercise. They really are heads above everybody else.
I don't think she even realizes what her marks are.
I think she's used to that.
Next up, we talked about her at the Open, Karima Morrow.
And if you think you've seen explosive tumbling, you ain't seen nothing yet. Karima is going to do a whip back into an immediate double layout. She has so much power, and she's still dancing around. If that were me, I would get that double layout right out of the way, right from the get-go. Watch her explode into the air. A whip back. 2 back handsprings into a double layout. Unbelievable.
And she smiled. She knows it was good.
Because she has been doing a double layout for 4 years. She's a senior this year, and she did a double layout when no one else in the country did. This year, UCLA has 3 gymnasts that perform a double layout. That is unheard of. And her second tumbling pass is a double full. She has to practically just prance down to contain her energy because she has so much power.
Talk about power. She's so explosive. She's the only Bruin ever to earn a perfect 10 in the vault. Looked like she was almost vaulting in the air on some of those tumbling passes.
She really does explode. And she'll end her routine with a double pike. And just watch, it's as high as her first tumbling pass. A double pike. She actually was a little low on that, which is really surprising, but that was an outstanding routine for Karima, and a big smile.
5th place at last year's NCAA championships in the all-around competition as Coach Valerie Condos comes over for the congratulatory pat. 2 great floor exercises in a row for UCLA.
And it's not over yet. It looks like Leah Homa is going to compete on the floor exercise. She recently hurt her ankle, but it looks like she might be in. And we'll take another look at Karima. Her first tumbling pass, a whip back, 2 back handsprings into a double layout, 2 flips in a completely stretched position. And she smiles because she made it. That was the first time she's ever performed that. That is so tough to do.
So she throws a jacket over herself, a 9.75, the official mark on floor for Karima Morrow. And that sets the tone. As you noticed, she was yelling encouragement to Leah Homa. And we take a look at Leah now getting ready, the final athlete for the UCLA lineup in Florex.
And here goes her first tumbling pass, a double pike. She can do a double layout, but that was a perfect double pike. I love to watch Leah compete, especially on this event. Her passion for the sport comes through in her dance and her expression, her dramatic movements. Keep in mind that she has a very sore ankle, but she wanted to compete, mostly for her team, because some of the gymnasts who competed earlier in the lineup didn't have their best performances, and she wants them to count a score that she can come up with. And that's normally a high score. That was towards her signature move, the Homa flares. Tumbling pass, a double full. What a routine. She's so elegant and beautiful to watch. Leah Homa for the Bruins.
It's so a powerful 1-2-3 punch to close out this apparatus for UCLA. Leah Homa would have competed at the Barcelona Olympic Games except for an injury, making that impossible.
Actually, Leah injured her knee and was not able to petition into the meet, and I think that's really still disappointing to her. This is a double full. Her last tumbling pass, a C move. She really is so great to watch. There's her Homa flip. Pac-10 all-conference selection on the floor exercise. And you can see why.
Two of her Bruin teammates earned a 9.3 or 9.325 in earlier performances, so she wants to be a little bit higher than that to add those points towards the Bruin total.
And the thing with Leah is she gives so little chance for the judges to deduct. Everything is so clean and done as close to perfection as possible.
And they're having a conference over at the scoring table. We'll have her official marks when we return for more Pac-10 Women's Gymnastics. Welcome back, everybody, to the University Athletics Center at ASU in Tempe, Arizona. John Neighbor with Maura Driscoll as we take a look at that last performance we saw. Leah Homa doing the floor exercise. That earned her a 9.7, and on the basis of those Bruin marks in that rotation, she earned, or UCLA took the lead in the overall team competition. Now we go over to the vault, and it's Tina Brinkman with ASU.
She'll be doing a handspring front with a half twist. She does this vault very well. She gets lots of distance. Remember, she was out most of the season due to a concussion that she suffered during a car accident. She's a remarkable athlete. The fact that she can be in this kind of condition, having it only be her 5th meet of the season. Let's watch her vault again. The approach, quick push off the horse. Look at the distance she gets on that vault. So far away from the horse. That's exactly what the judges love to see.
And now over on the bars, Becky Bowers from the University of Arizona Wildcats, the sophomore. She's starting off her team.
Becky is an outstanding performer on the bars. We caught the end of it there. Her dismount, a full twisting double back, and a perfect landing, and they rally around her.
I said starting off. I meant to say she's closing it up, the 6th athlete in the bars. Here's Tina's second vault.
Handspring front with a half twist. A little off to the side there, which is a slight deduction. Her first vault was better, lots of distance. But Becky Bowers, I should say, finished second at bars at the 94 Pac-10 championships, and the gymnast who beat her graduated. So she knows she has a great shot at the title, and she just did an excellent routine.
So Tina Brinkman now walking back, knowing that she has completed her vaulting obligations here at the Pac-10 championships. Remember, she was the woman who tried to win her 4th consecutive floor exercise title. That did not happen.
Here's another look at Becky Bowers. Watch her set up for her dismount. A full twisting double back, 2 flips, 1 twist, and look at the landing. Boom. Unbelievable. Very, very good job.
And so Bowers scored 9.9. That's as high a mark as we've seen here in these championships. And Tina Brinkman over on the vault earned a 9.875, her high mark in that competition. Couple of quick good scores here in rotation number 5.
A 9.9 on bars is a very good score. This is a conference championship. They're not giving out the high scores. It's not that easy to get big scores. You need to do big tricks, lots of difficulty, and you need to execute well.
Oregon State University over on the balance beam.
And this is Amy Slack on the beam. That was her tumbling pass, 2 flip-flops into an immediate layout, step out. Amy has been tops on the list of what OSU is calling their fab freshmen. OSU has 4 freshman recruits, and Amy has been a pleasant surprise in the all-around.
Amy hails from Pittsburgh, California, a science major, hoping to work in physical therapy or something of that nature.
Amy has one of the highest all-around marks in the Pac-10 this season, a 39.225. Good enough for tying for 4th in the Pac-10. This meet is very important, John, because there are 7 rotations, and it's basically a carbon copy of the regional meet, which happens in a few weeks. And regionals directly determines your berth to nationals. Your regional score counts 100%. That's what gets you to nationals. So this is great practice for all of these teams. And her dismount, a round-off full twist, a solid performance for Amy. Oregon State as a team is ranked number 10 on the balance beam in the nation. And to win this meet, you really need to stay on the beam.
As we take a look at Amy's dismount once more in slow motion, we'll be back with more great gymnastics competition as the Pac-10 championships continue here in Arizona. Welcome back to everybody to more of the Pac-10 Gymnastics Championships for women here at Arizona State University in Tempe. John Neighbor and Mara Driscoll, as we closed out the 5th rotation. Rondi Miller from OSU did this beautiful tumbling pass to end up her performance on the beam. I should mention that her teammate Amy Slack's marks just before this were a 9.65.
And Rondi was the specialist of the year last year on this event, a top OSU performer on the balance beam. She has scored as high as 9.9 this season. Her dismount, a double full to a great landing.
And that landing and her performance earned her a 9.825. Now let's join the action in rotation number 6. Over at the bars, ASU making a run for team title here.
And that was big bonus combination. She did a full pirouette, a giant full pirouette into an immediate ginger, her release move. This is Megan Wright, ASU's top freshman. And ASU is doing an amazing job on bars, a full twisting double back. They are on fire on this event, making a serious run for the title. It's ASU and UCLA very close, neck and neck.
Should mention the scores of the first 4 athletes for ASU in the rotation: a 9.7, a 9.75, a 9.85, and a 9.9 for Dana Lister. Let's see what Megan Wright earns off of this performance.
This is a great angle, so you can see how narrow the bar is and how you have to hold on tight and the swing and timing that's required. You see the bar pull down. She releases for her dismount, and that's perfect timing. I mean, it has to be right on the money. Here's the release. Here's the dismount, a full twisting double back, 2 flips, 1 twist, a little teeny step backwards, but a very nice routine and a stellar job for the ASU Sun Devils on the uneven bars.
And great score, 9.85 for Megan Wright, but her attention is on her teammate, Tina Brinkman, the final athlete from ASU on this apparatus, and that's who they're watching right now.
And John, we mentioned the Pac-10 is one of the toughest conferences to compete in. I mean, just so much high-caliber gymnastics. Oh, and Tina's having a problem here. This is not a great meet for her, but it's important to remember. Here's her dismount. A toe on front with a half, but she had a deduction there for an intermediate swing, probably 3/10. It's important to note, I started to say, that she is only at the 5th meet of her season, where the rest of the gymnasts competing tonight are in postseason form. They have a lot of competition under their belt. But this is her senior season. It's at home. It's the Pac-10 championships.
Now we take a look at Dee Fisher on the vault.
This is actually Leah Homa. She did a handspring front in the pike position.
That's right, they snuck her into the lineup there, didn't they?
That's right, she had that ankle injury, so you never know what UCLA is going to put out on the floor. Sorry for the confusion there. Leah Homa does a beautiful handspring front pike. She has very quick action, and this is really the vault of the evening. We've seen it several times. But what Leah does well is she knows exactly when to anticipate the ground. Seems to be having a problem. I think she had a really kind of landed straight-legged, and that's why she's feeling a little bit of soreness in her stomach. But you'll see what I mean. Watch for the quick action. Once she pushes off the horse and gets into her pike position, it happens very quickly. Here's the pre-flight. Push and quick into the pike and quick out of the pike. She landed straight-legged. That's exactly what happened. She didn't bend her knees when she was landing. She only took one vault because of the ankle problem and also probably because of the discomfort she felt. But amazing score.
Wow, you know, I got to think that they snuck her back in to have a shot for the all-around title.
Well, she was last year's all-around champion as a freshman, and she, too, more than anything, she wants to be in this meet. Her coaches want to save her for regionals and for nationals. That's when they really need her. But she is such a fierce competitor that she wants in. She wants to win.
Some scores came back. Tina Brinkman, the last performer on bars, a 9.45. Her score will not count, but it is still a very close battle between UCLA and ASU. We'll be back with more. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody. With the final rotation remaining, Arizona State, Stanford, and Cal have completed their competitions, and therefore they lead in the total point standings. Arizona State 195.150 is giving UCLA a run for their money. The Bruins, their final apparatus is the bars, and interestingly enough, their top seed, their sixth-place rotation, Megan Fenton, injured herself earlier in the meet and will not compete, and therefore the pressure to deliver an average of 9.7 or better to win falls on a much diminished Bruins squad.
Megan was the 1993 Pac-10 bars champion. She earned that title scoring a perfect 10. So the Bruins are not at full force, and they need to come up with some huge numbers if they want to slip ahead of the Arizona State Sun Devils here at the Sun Devils home court.
Kristen Harmel will lead the Bruins in their final attempt for this title. She's a senior out of Pacific Palisades. She mounts the bars.
Kristen is a transfer from BYU, a fine acquisition. There's a giant full, very nicely done, into another giant half pirouette, and her release move, beautiful Jaeger. She's moving very, very well. She looks much improved on this event, much more confident than she had earlier in the season, and a second release move into Tkachev. What a beautiful routine. She is really performing way over her head. Oh, and her dismount.
It looked like the bar just
slipped off the bar early. Oh, and she's not hurt. I see her smiling. You can see, looks like there was a problem with her grip. Her grip slipped. It really wasn't her fault at all. And she was doing, I can't tell, it looked like a double layout dismount. And she slipped off and wasn't able to rotate around. Thank God there was that crash pad there. But what a flawless routine up to that point. Here's her second release move, a Tkachev, or a reverse hex. Let's take a look at her hands closely to see what happened here. She's setting up for her dismount. She's going to do two flips. See, she left hand slipped off. Gosh, she was lucky to get around. That certainly really demonstrates the risk involved in women's gymnastics.
Well, a little red in the face, a 9.35, the lowest score for the Bruins after three performers. Leah Hama, we've seen a lot of her. She's now back up again on the bars. Her final performance of this contest.
And she did a little half pirouette there that seemed to slip her hand as well, but recovered well with her release move, a Jaeger. Again, look at her toe point. Her legs never separate. Her toe point is worthy of envy. She's just a flawless athlete. A double pike, a step on the landing, because she can do a double layout also. And not that happy. She knows how to do that routine perfectly.
As I mentioned earlier, they need a 9.7 average of the 4 or the 5 scoring athletes, and they're already keeping a 9.475.
That's going to be tough for the Bruins. Take a look at the hand movement here, the hand work on the uneven bars. Look at that. That was a blind change. She totally released her hand and did a half twist. There it is, that blind change, full pirouette. Nice tight handstand, double pike dismount, step on the landing. Again, she can do a double layout, which is two flips in a completely stretched position.
So even with that step, she earns a 9.80. UCLA is not out of it yet. Two more performers still to come. And you take a look at the fingers pointing in hopeful victory. UCLA final performer coming up now on the bars. Stella Ume earned a 9.925. Great score.
And Karima getting ready here. She does two release moves in her routine. Big release moves. There's her giant full. That's a D move and another giant pull. 2 Ds in a row right on the top of the bar. There's one release right to the handstand. Everything done to its fullest. And here comes her big release move, a Tkachev. Beautiful, caught far away from the bar. That's what you want in these release moves. And getting ready for her dismount. Watch this. This is the new dismount. Actually, a double layout. She's done that before, and she landed perfectly. Karima is working on a new dismount, but I think because the team really needs her big score, she wanted to do something that she could nail, and she stuck that landing. And Karima on the bars again. We'll take another look. This is actually Stella Ume a little earlier. No, excuse me, Karima. Here, dismount, a double layout to a beautiful landing.
So let's create what happened to the Bruins in the final rotation. They started off with a 9.475. The 9.35 had to be disallowed. And it looks like mathematically a 9.625 or better is needed for the Bruins to win the team title.
And I think I can see a score over there for Karima Mara. It looks like a 9.875.
And the single finger in the air for the Bruins might be the symbol of victory here at the Pac-10 Championships.
Bruins are ranked number 2 in the nation on the uneven bars. The highest ranked bars team in the Pac-10, second in the nation. If they had to make it up anywhere, the uneven bars was a great place.
And a 9.875, the final mark for Karima. And therefore, with Morrow's score on the board, a smiling coach, Valerie Condos, acknowledges that the Bruins are the 1995 conference champions in women's gymnastics.
In a total team effort, the Bruins really came up big. Head coach John Spini of Arizona State, the host school, shaking hands with head coach Valerie Condos. Those are the 2 top-ranked teams in the conference, so I guess it's not surprising. UCLA finishes first and ASU finishes second.
So the Bruins travel out from Los Angeles to be hosted here at ASU. A very exciting finish of the Pac-10 Conference Championships. And yes, UCLA is number 1. Welcome back, everybody. With all the scores tabulated, the results are now official and on your screen. UCLA victorious here for the conference title, defeating Arizona State by 1/4 of a point. Arizona in 3rd place drops the defending champion to 4th.
And UCLA captured their 6th Pac-10 team title tonight.
Let's take a look at the individual results in each apparatus. In the vault, it was a 3-way tie for the win. Katie Freeland, Darcy Wamsgans, and Lisa Washington win there. On the uneven bars, Stella Ume from UCLA gets a victory. Dana Lister and Becky Bowers tie for 2nd. On the balance beam, Stella Ume once again victorious. A 2-way tie for the runner-up position between Rondi Miller and Leah Homa. And in the floor exercise, Stella Ume makes it 3 wins. Victorious there, defeating 2 other Sun Devils. And the all-around champion title goes, to no surprise, Stella Ume with her 3 individual wins adds a 4th championship here. ASU and UCLA taking 6 of the top 7 all-around positions. So once again, the team title goes to UCLA. And while we have a chance, we'd also like to thank our hosts here at Arizona State University, especially Amy Dombrowski of the Sports Information Department and Kelly Lead, the Facilities Coordinator. We'll be back with a few more thoughts in just a moment. And as the crowd is leaving the arena here, we'll take a look at the final standings. UCLA, the 1995 Pac-10 Conference Gymnastics champions. And so, Maura, with the caliber of competition we saw today, what did we learn about these teams?
Well, we certainly learned that the Pac-10 is, in fact, one of the most competitive conferences in the country, and we can, again, look for these top 4 Pac-10 teams to do very well at the upcoming Nationals.
great performance in the all-around by Stella Ume. She was truly stellar.
Absolutely. She won 3 events and the all-around competition, 16th all-around at the Olympic Games in 1992. As the Bruins head to nationals, they're sure glad that she's on their squad.
Well, the Bruins winning, and ASU, of course, in their hosting role also gave them a run for their money. What does this bode for the future of their seasons?
Well, for both teams and all teams here, it was a great practice meet for regionals and nationals. Regionals counts 100% towards your berth at nationals. For those teams that didn't do so well, they can make some adjustments. But for the teams who did very well, they can go out and hope to duplicate that in 2 weeks.
Exciting gymnastics here, perhaps exciting gymnastics for the rest of the season. On behalf of my partner, Maura Driscoll, I'm John Neighbor, saying congratulations to the Bruins for their conference title and to Stella Ume for her all-around individual victory. That wraps up our coverage from this year's conference championships. Thanks for joining us here in Tempe. So long, everyone.